the key game of that series, because the loser of tonight's Yankee-Kansas City game must then come back and win 2 in a row, while the winner of tonight's Kansas City-New York game can merely split and win the pennant. All right, Al, take us along this first inning and see if we're going to go 2 games to 1 or if we will pack our bags and leave today.
Gary Nolan on the mound for Cincinnati. Nolan was 15-9 during the regular season, led the Red staff in victories, earned run average 3.46. He was 1-1 against Philadelphia. So here we go, game number 3 with Dave Cash to lead things off with the Phillies, and the first pitch is up and in, ball 1. Cash will be followed by Gary Maddox and Mike Schmidt. Reds winning game 1 on Saturday, 6-3, back of Don Gullett. Then 6-2 with Pat Zachary getting the win. Pedro Borbon the save on Sunday. Hit in the air to center field. Cesar Geronimo has an easy play. 1 down. Dave Cash is gone, and up comes Gary Maddox. Maddox had a great year, hit .330. Philly lineup, Cash, Maddox, and Schmidt. Luzinski in the cleanup spot. Allen, Johnstone, Boone, Boa, and Jim Cott. Gary Maddox has 2 hits in the championship series. There are his figures on the regular season. And Nolan starts him with an off-speed pitch, foul back. 0-1. Very tough time of day for the hitters at about 3:25 local time in Cincinnati. As you can see, the hitters standing in the shade. Gary Nolan in the sun and the backdrop in the sun.
Those shadows play a big part in the battle between the pitcher and the hitter, Al. They'll be all right once we get the sun a little bit farther behind us and the shadows, if they go all the way across the pitcher's mound, it'll be a little bit easier for the hitters. But now it's going to be a little bit tough with that shadow running directly right between the 2 of them.
It is tough for the hitter. It is also very tough for the left fielder. That is the sun field here this time of year. Nolan ahead 0-2, and the next pitch to Maddox is wasted outside. 1-2 the count. There is George Foster in left field. Foster looking right into the sun. George playing just about straight away. The 1-2 pitch to Maddox is outside. 2-2. Plate umpire today is Dick Stello. Ed Bargo working at first. Doug Harvey at second. Terry Tata at third. Ed Sudol is on the left field line. Jerry Dale on the line at right. Hit by the mound, but Concepcion covers a lot of ground. 2 down. Maddox chopping one toward the middle. Concepcion always seems to get a great break on the ball. Went to the right field side of second. Here at Cincinnati, it's a symmetrical ballpark. 330 into the corner and left. 375 to the alley in left center. And 404 to straightaway center, with 375 the dimensions to right center and 330 down the line. Fence here is 12 feet high all the way around. Pretty good hitter's park. Not quite as good, though, as Philadelphia. The batter, Mike Schmidt. 1-0 the count.
The AstroTurf, Al, here is really much more honest than it was in Philadelphia. It's not as slick. It's not quite as fast. It's a little bit softer. You get a little bit truer hop, if you will, off of this AstroTurf, as opposed to that real fast stuff over in the Phillies stadium. Now, that ball that Maddox hit up the middle the other day in Philadelphia, that might have gone through for a base hit. Here, it bounces a little bit higher and gives Concepcion a little bit more time to get to it.
2 out, bases empty. First inning, no score. 2-0 the count on Mike Schmidt. In there. Mike in the series 1 for 8. He could have had a couple of hits on Saturday, hit a couple of balls very hard, but they stayed in.
I think Mike is doing exactly what he said in our pregame show. He's going to go up there and wait. He's not going to be quite as anxious.
Hit down to Concepcion on a hop, stays with it, and gets it. So the Phillies are disposed of in order in the first inning. And at the end of the half inning in Riverfront Stadium, it's Philadelphia nothing and Cincinnati coming up. Look at the Reds lineup. Rose at third, Griffey in right, Morgan at second, Perez at first, Foster in left, Bench hitting sixth, Johnny catching with Cesar Geronimo in center, Concepcion at short, and Gary Nolan pitching. Jim Cott working on Pete Rose, and the first pitch is in for a strike. Rose is 5 for 10 in the 2 games. 1-1 the count. 2-1. The way Nolan works and the way Cott works and the paucity of walks that each has yielded, we could be out of here in an hour. Rose hits it down to Cash. And Dave gets him. So Pete is gone and Griffey coming up.
Well, we had a good shot there. Jim Cott style throwing to home plate. Cott pitched 227 innings this year. Al walked only 32 batters. On the other hand, Gary Nolan pitched 239 innings, walked only 27 batters. Both of them throw the ball over the plate. And their key is to get ahead of the hitters, not pitch from behind.
Ken Griffey gets settled and takes a strike. Griffey has 2 hits in the 2 games. Ken finished second to Bill Madlock this year in the batting race at 336. Cott fields this one and gets him. Jim, among other things, a very fine fielding pitcher. That goes without saying. He was a consistent Golden Glove award winner in the American League over the years. Won 14 in succession.
He has a tremendous balance on the mound, Al. He's a very well-conditioned athlete. He spends a lot of time fielding ground balls. He does a lot of things that take throwing. He says, I'm a pitcher. I throw the ball. I feel the ball. Those are the 2 things that he does the most.
Joe Morgan at the plate. 2 down, bases empty, up and in.
It's not a bad hitter either. 15 career home runs, 100 RBIs.
Morgan chopping it foul at the plate. And the count on Joe, 1-1. Joe likes to get in that elbow flap. That's why he doesn't like to face Jim Cott. Flap that elbow a couple of times. He has dispensed with that here. Up high, ball 2, 2-1.
He hasn't got time for it. You can see by that Cott's delivery, there's just no time. He just gets the ball, he gets the signal, and he's ready to throw, and it's a very quick delivery.
Morgan pops it up. Dave Cash with the glasses down and makes the catch to retire the side. So each side out in order in the first inning, and at the end of 1 complete, it's Philadelphia nothing, Cincinnati nothing. Let's find out about Gary Nolan from the man back of the plate.
Gary's more of a control pitcher. We'll use the fastball. He's got a deceptive fastball. He's got a little ride on it at the end when he's strong. Good changeup and an overhand curveball. And he's had some shoulder problems, but they seem to alleviate themselves with a couple of cortisone shots. And Gary's going to be working the corners mostly. We'll go with the fastball and some slow curves and the changeups against the left-handed hitters. If he has his control, he's going to have to rely on it all day. If he makes a mistake, then the big boys can hurt him.
Johnny Bench on Gary Nolan. Greg Luzinski, the batter, takes a strike. No score, 2nd inning, game 3 of the National League Championship Series. The Reds trying to wrap it up. Celebrate tonight. The Phillies trying to stay alive. Good curve, 0-2.
Big curveball. That's a beautiful pitch. That's one of Gary's most effective pitches when he keeps the ball down. I talked earlier about his just 27 walks. That's an average of 1.02 per 9 innings for Gary. Cott's average 1.26. These guys throw the ball over the plate. Very few base on balls.
It used to be, a lot of hitters would say, when you play in the twilight or late afternoon as we are today, it's really tough to face a guy like Nolan Ryan. But I'm hearing more and more hitters now saying it's much tougher to face somebody like Gary Nolan or Andy Messersmith, somebody who has a good change and changes speeds a lot.
I think the basic thing is that it's very difficult to judge the speed coming through those shadows. Ball coming out of the light into the shadows. Very difficult.
They get the appeal for strike 3. Ed Vargo said he came around at first base. So Luzinski on a half swing strikes out. The first base umpire, Ed Vargo, calling it on the appeal. And it'll bring up Dick Allen. Take a look at it again. Judge for yourself.
I talked to Gary before the game, and he said he's had a very live fastball, and you saw it right there. The last couple of games he pitched in the regular season, his fastball was really his most effective pitch. If he has that effective fastball, he won't throw that changeup quite as much. And he told me today he was going to try and establish his fastball as early as he possibly could.
Dick Allen, the batter, 0-1 the count. Allen has 2 hits in 6 trips in the 2 games. Fly ball to center field. Cesar Geronimo coming in. 2 down, and that's 5 in a row set down by Gary Nolan. So 2 away in the 2nd inning, and it'll bring up Jay Johnstone. Johnstone, most of the season, platooned in right field with Ollie Brown. Brown played in Game 1 with the left-hander Gullett working for the Reds. Johnstone in Game 2 had 3 hits. He came up with a pinch hit single in Game number 1, so Jay is 4 for 5 in the series.
In the cool 800, Al. That's not too bad.
Hit .318 during the regular season. In there, 0-1 the count. 2 down, bases empty. We're in the second inning at Cincinnati. No score. Bunted toward third. Good bunt. Rose will let it roll, and it stays fair. And so Jay Johnstone aboard with a bunt single. First hit of the game.
How about Jay Johnstone now 5 for 6 in the 3 games?
He can hit. He gives a lot of credit to a fellow by the name of Ben Lefevre, who is the father of former Dodger Jimmy Lefevre, the infielder now playing in Japan. Johnstone, some nondescript years in the American League, and then all of a sudden emerging. Last year, hit .300, and this year, up again over the mark. Bob Boone is the batter. And the Philly catcher takes low and away, ball 1. Boone 2 for 4 in the playoffs. Hit .271 during the regular season. Johnstone at first base, held on by Perez. No score in the second inning. Nolan backing off and then throwing. Johnstone this season stole 5 bases in 10 attempts. Boone, it's a fly ball to left field and deep. Foster is back on the track and makes the catch up against the wall. Fine play by Foster, looking right up into the sun. Went back against the fence and makes the catch. So Boone is robbed, and the Phillies are out in the second. A hit and a man left after an inning and a half. Nothing. What a play. Robbing Boone. Here we go, bottom of the second inning as Tony Perez takes outside, ball 1. Foster going just about to the same spot where Joe Rudy made a fabulous catch in the 1972 World Series to rob Dennis Minke. Very key play. 2-0 on Perez. Foul back, and the count 2-1.
This left field is a problem here at Riverfront Stadium. You see Greg Luzinski in left field.
That's drilled to center. Maddox comes on, gambles and loses. But it drops near him, and he's able to get it back in. Maddox, very fortunate, he was able to quell the momentum and keep it from getting behind him.
There it is, line. If it goes by Maddox, Perez has got at least a double, maybe a triple, depending on how fast Luzinski can back him up.
Luzinski was doing a good job. He was hustling back over, trying to back up Gary in center field.
For Tony Perez, his first hit in the playoffs, and up comes George Foster. Foster 1 for 9. Foster, 1 hit in the 2 games, a home run on Saturday night to put Cincinnati ahead 2-1. George led the majors in runs batted in this season. Foster likes to step out a lot, so he and Cott will play cat and mouse all day. Popped up, Dave Cash goes into the shade and makes the catch.
Al, did you say cat and mouse or cotton mouse?
Foster likes to try to break your rhythm. You've seen that happen many times.
He certainly does. There's no question now. You're trying to get hitters to get uncomfortable on the mound. He's ready to go. He's got his sign already. He's ready to pitch the ball. Now the umpire has got to give the hitter time to get in and get comfortable in that box. And if we get the shot of Cott delivering the ball, you'll see how fast he is going to home plate.
Johnny Bench hits one, fielded by Boa on a hop, to Cash 1, and to Allen for 2, a double play. So Perez leads off with a single, but the Reds are gone quickly thereafter in the second. 1 hit, nobody left, end of 2. Philadelphia nothing, Cincinnati nothing. On to the third inning. Al Michaels with Warner Wolf and Tom Seaver at Riverfront Stadium. Tonight, of course, 8 o'clock Eastern time on ABC from Yankee Stadium in New York. Game number 3, American League Championship Series. The Yankees and the Kansas City Royals, all even at a game apiece. If a 4th game is necessary in this series, we'll be back tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. And the probables, Don Gullett and Steve Carlton. Third inning, 0-0. Larry Boa to start things for Philadelphia. Hits it to the right side. Morgan fields, and Nolan gets over in time. Gary got a late start, but was able to make it back in time. As Perez had committed himself, the first baseman came off the line, couldn't make the play. And Morgan had to wait for Nolan to get there. Fine play.
That's one of the basic plays a pitcher has got to do, is get off that mound and cover first base, especially with a quick runner like Larry Boa. It looks like maybe Gary got stepped on slightly. I'm not sure if Larry hit him on the first base bag or not. There's one of the better hitting pitchers in baseball, Jim Cott, and really a fine all-around athlete.
Jim Cott standing in with one out. Base is empty. Outfield chases him toward left. And Nolan misses low, ball one.
I think an interesting thing about Cott is that before this year, he hadn't batted in 2 years because of the designated hitter rule in the American League, yet he came back with 14 hits, 8 runs batted in, and a home run this year.
I'll give you a quiz here, Warner. Whose bat do you think he's swinging up there?
How about Richie Allen?
Richie Allen's. 40 ounces he's got up there at the plate. He says he struck out against Nolan 5 times this year, and he says he's going to take a big piece of lumber up there and try and whack on it.
Cott pops this one up. Joe Morgan coming in front of second. And 2 down.
There was Jim Cott. Look at that, hustling all the way around. You saw him go right behind Joe Morgan after he made the catch. He is a hustling ball player. Pop up in the infield, the starting pitcher, hustling. He might lose that ball in the sun. He'll still end up on second base.
Marvelously conditioned athlete, 37 years old, going on 23. Dave Cash is the batter, flying out in the first inning. Fast-paced game. We played about 20 minutes, third inning, 2 out. Base is empty. 0-1 on Cash.
Let me just interject one thing. On the pregame show, we had Mike Schmidt. He said we've got to discipline ourselves, stop swinging at the first pitch. The Phillies have batted around. Not one Philly swung at the first pitch.
The strike one pitch is on the outside corner for a strike. That's a good idea, I think, against a guy like Zachary. I'm not so sure it's such a good idea against Gary Nolan, though, with his great control.
That'll make Gary Nolan much more effective because he's going to throw strikes. He's going to get ahead of you. I think that's a good philosophy to say, okay, let's be patient. Let's, not go up and swing at that first pitch. Against a guy like this, he's going to be around the strike zone. This is a guy that maybe you should go up and start whacking at that first pitch.
Just got a piece of it. Bench can't handle it, and the count is 0-2. This game telecast under television rights granted by Major League Baseball solely for the entertainment of the viewing audience, and any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the explicit written consent of the Major League Baseball is prohibited. Any commercial or other use of the program, such as charging admission for its showing, is similarly prohibited. If I'd have read that when Cott was pitching, we'd have been out of the inning. Hit to right center field, and that'll be in for a base hit. Ken Griffey over to the alley to cut the ball off and gets it back in. So the Phillies have their second hit. Johnstone bunted for a base hit in the second inning, and now Cash a 2-out single to right center here in the third, and it'll bring up Gary Maddox. Gary Nolan, when he first came up, 18 years old, pitched in Crosley Field, struck out Willie Mays 4 times in a game. Came into national prominence that night. He could throw as hard as anybody. Then a series of ailments, and right now, a totally different pitcher.
We had a rookie year together. Jim, he came up in '67, so did I. There was 14-8. I was 16-13.
Bunted, but Banks will handle it. And Maddox tries to bunt his way on, but Banks is able to gun him down. For the Phillies in the top of the third, no runs, 1 hit. And a man left on at the end of 2.5. Reds nothing, Phillies nothing. Warner Wolf asked Bob Boone, the Philly catcher, for his assessment of Jim Cott.
That's true, Warner. I saw him pitch on TV in the All-Star game. That was really the only time I'd seen Jim pitch. He's quite a unique style, as you'll see this evening, and is a tremendous competitor. And really quite a thrill to catch. He really is different. The whole mode, the whole way he approaches pitching is different than most pitchers, and he really is fun to catch. I know the first time I caught him in spring training, he worked so fast. I felt myself rushing so much I didn't have time to think about anything else. I was just trying to get back to the plate before he threw the ball. And, since then and adjusting to him, I've come to really like the way he works and knowing now how he likes to pitch and set up hitters and do different things. He really is fun to catch.
Dave Concepcion starts the inning by grounding out to Larry Boa. 1 down in the bottom of the third, no score, and Cesar Geronimo to stand in. Geronimo hit .307 during the regular season. Geronimo in the championship series, 1 for 8. No pitch. Dick Stello said time had been called. So Cott delivers, but no pitch, and now Geronimo is ready and grounds it backhanded nicely by Schmidt, who turns and gets him. Fine play.
That's a great play by the third baseman, Mike Schmidt. That's really a tough play. The ball comes off the bat a little bit funny. It's got a funny spin. It goes down there, and it can either hit the AstroTurf or it can hit that dirt part, and it makes it very difficult for the third baseman.
Gary Nolan, the batter, hits it foul off to the right, and the count is 0-1.
I talked a little bit about left field, Luzinski in left field. He turns sideways in left field. Got a funny way that he tries to play left field. Maybe gives him a little edge on the sun.
Greg stands off at an angle toward the foul line. Next pitch to Nolan, missing. Ball 2. 2-1.
I think
the way Luzinski sets up in left.
Excuse me, Al. As we see Luzinski, I also think, Tom, he figures anything in left center Maddox is going to get, so it gives him a head start toward the left field line.
3-1 the count, and Cott wants a new ball. No runs, 2 hits for the Phillies. No runs, 1 hit for the Reds in the third inning. And Nolan is on. So Cott, very uncharacteristically, walks the pitcher. Gary Nolan aboard. That's playing with fire. Now he's got to face Pete Rose.
I talked to Bob Boone for the game, and he was saying that one thing that has hurt Jim Cott this year is getting behind hitters. He's the kind of pitcher that has to stay ahead of the hitters. He said it's funny, but a couple times during the year that right in the middle of the ball game, he'll lose his timing and he'll lose his rhythm, and boom, he'll walk 2 guys. Uncharacteristically, he just doesn't walk anybody, and then all of a sudden, boom, boom, 2 walks back to back. I don't know what's...
Pete Rose hits his foul off to the right, and the count is 0-1.
Very unusual to see him walk the opposing pitcher. That's not something you'll see Jim Cott doing very often.
Gary Nolan at first base, 2 down. Rose hits it toward the middle, and Cash fields the ball on a bounce. He steps on second for the unassisted fourth. For the Reds here in the third inning. No runs, no hits, and Nolan left the board at the end of 3 complete. Reds nothing, Phillies nothing. You up to date on a couple of other things happening in sports today. Former Pittsburgh quarterback Terry Hanratty signed by John McKay's Tampa Bay Buccaneers to a 1-year contract. In the NBA, the Portland Trail Blazers sold Sidney Wicks to the Celtics. No players involved, straight cash. And in another NFL note, Marion Campbell fired yesterday as the Atlanta Falcons head coach. That was followed today, 3 of his assistant coaches resigning. Pat Pepler taking over as head coach at Atlanta. Sidney Wicks to Boston.
I don't understand that. That's a player of that caliber going to somebody for nobody else, just straight money. That's funny.
Go to the 4th inning with Mike Schmidt to lead things off. Schmidt, Luzinski, and Allen. No score. Gary Nolan has allowed 2 hits through 3. Jay Johnstone a bunt single in the 2nd inning. And Dave Cash a single to right center in the 3rd. Gary Nolan, born in Herlong, California, lives now in Cincinnati. 0-1 the count. Schmidt now 1 for 9 in the championship series. 1-1 the count. Used to be whispers about Nolan when Gary was hurt and still pitching in 72. He had no pain threshold. It really used to bother him too, because he knew what the problem was, and as it turned out, the problem was quite extensive.
One of the things in baseball, Al, that the pitcher has to learn to do is recognize the difference between pain and stiffness. There is a big difference there. Gary, of course, 6'3", a little over 200 pounds. 239 innings pitched this year. Really incredible. Only 27 base on balls. These are basic stuff. Fastball, curveball, changeup. 3 pitches. Very good control usually of all of them. And lately has been very effective with his fastballs. Had a very good fastball.
With a guy like Nolan, it's almost impossible, even though he throws a lot of changeups and off-speed stuff, it's almost impossible to really sit on it. Hit fair, down the left field line and into the corner. George Foster will play the carom. Schmidt has good speed and legs it into second easily. So Mike Schmidt leads off with a double in the 4th inning. 3 hits now off Gary Nolan. And up comes Greg Luzinski, who struck out in the 2nd inning.
You notice the count when he hit the double. He waited, got ahead of the pitcher. That's something none of the Phillies have really been doing. Got ahead of the pitcher and got his pitch. Boom, double.
That's a good point. They have not seen very many 2-0 and 3-1 pitches in the first 2 games.
As a pitcher against either one of these teams, that's how you do not want to pitch. You've got to get the head. You don't want to pitch when you've got the count of 2 balls and no strikes or 3 balls and a strike. The hitter is at a distinct advantage in that situation.
Greg Luzinski looks at a strike. Luzinski struck out in the 2nd inning. That's Nolan's only strikeout through 3. No score in the 4th. Pulled the string on it. Luzinski out in front. 0-2.
Great changeup. You know, when he came up, when Gary came up, first year I came up, as I mentioned before, he had as live a fastball as I've ever seen in the big leagues. Young kid, I think he was 18 or 19 years old when he came up.
18.
A tremendous fastball. He had great movement on it upstairs. He was very difficult to hit.
Luzinski stays alive by getting a piece of it.
He knew he was injured. He had to develop something that really could take the place of that effective fastball that he lost when he hurt his shoulder, and that's when he developed that changeup that you saw the first pitch of Luzinski. Outstanding changeup, great motion on it, and very deceptive.
Mike Schmidt off to his lead at second with nobody out. 4th inning, no score. Luzinski hits it down the line in right field, and that's in for extra bases. Mike Schmidt will come in to score. Griffey's got a pretty good arm. Luzinski on his way to second. The relay from Morgan is not in time. So back-to-back doubles by Schmidt and Luzinski, and the Phillies take the lead. 1-0 Philadelphia.
And for the 3rd time in the 3-game series, the Phillies have taken the lead. They led 1-0 in Game 1. They led 2-0 in Game 2. And as you watch it again, Luzinski doubling to the opposite field. They now lead 1-0 in Game 3. Let's see if they can hold it in this one. There you see Griffey. And, of course, the ball was cut off by Morgan, feeling there was no chance had he not.
So the Phillies ahead in the 4th inning, and Dick Allen ready to stand in, bench, the conference at the mound, and now Johnny on his way back behind the plate. Allen flied to Geronimo in the 2nd inning. Dick in the series is 2 for 7. Fouled away, out of play. 0-1. This is where it all started. Cincinnati, first professional baseball franchise. Manny Sarmiento throwing now in the Cincinnati bullpen. What a great feeling in this town. You walk around all over town, banners and pennants and souvenirs, and everybody dressed in red.
This is a red town. There's no question about it, Al. If you don't like baseball in this town, you're kind of an outcast. This is a baseball town. Got to be the #1 baseball town in the country today.
1-1 the count. Reds drew over 2.5 million. The city itself has less than 500,000 people, but the Reds draw from the surrounding areas. A lot of large cities around Cincinnati. Dayton, Columbus, Louisville, Kentucky. Hit to right field. Should be deep enough to get Luzinski over to third as Griffey makes the catch. Luzinski is tagging, and Griffey's throw is off the mark, so Greg is able to go in standing up. So Allen goes a long way the opposite way. Griffey taking care of him, but Luzinski moving over. 1 down, and up comes Jay Johnstone.
That's a big play right there by Richie Allen, at least getting Luzinski to third base.
Infield plays in. Johnstone looks at a strike. Jay bunted up the third baseline for a base hit in the 2nd inning. He is now 5 for 6 in the series. 1-0 Philadelphia, 4th inning. Nubber foul. Nolan likes to work out of a stretch man at third, something that Tom Seaver doesn't like to do.
Pardon?
Gary working out of a stretch position, man at third.
I'm much more comfortable in the windup.
I know.
No question. I'll have to go into that stretch position if if I got runners on second and third, or first, let's say first and second and third, trying to keep their leads as short as I possibly can.
Why do you like to work out of the windup most of the time? The drive off the mound?
Just comfortable. It's just...
Roll down to Perez. Luzinski will have to hold, and Perez makes the play on Johnstone unassisted. So in the infield playing in, Johnstone rolling one to the right side and losing his bat in the process, and he's gone. So that's a big out. The infield can move back now, and Nolan will work on Bob Boone.
Got him out front in an off-speed pitch. He was way off balance. The job there, the hitter at the plate's got to try and at least get the ball in the air to the outfield. Give the runner at third base a chance to tag up, come in and score the run. It'd have been a big run for them. If they get a couple of runs, they're a club that does have their back to the wall. They need all they can get.
1-0 Philadelphia. Bob Boone flying to left in the second inning. Foster made a great catch at the wall. 0-1 the count. Boone got off to a tremendous start this season. A lot of people felt he should have been the starting catcher in the All-Star game, but Johnny Bench had the most votes. And then Bob had a rough go of it in the second half. Luzinski is at third. Oh, 1 the count on Bob Boone. Breaking ball away, and the count 1-1.
You can see that the shadows have gone all the way past the pitching mound, so now that the hitter is not faced with a ball coming through a light spot and then coming into the shadows, what you've got now, you've got an opening in the upper deck here of the stadium, and you're going to get the shadow that is right behind home plate is shortly going to be right out in front of home plate, and you're going to have the same kind of problem again.
1 ball, 2 strikes. It really used to be tough here. The backdrop in center field used to be a very light gray, but they have darkened that backdrop right now. It makes it a bit easier, as you can see, the backdrop above the yellow line on the wall. Popped up in foul ground. Bench comes over near the photographer's stand. Might have a play and does. So Johnny Bench, just before he runs out of room, able to haul it in, and the Phillies here in the fourth inning settle for 1. They get a run. 2 hits. 1 left after 3 1/2. 1-0 Philadelphia. Earlier in his career, Jim Cott didn't work this rapidly. We asked him why the switch.
Well, it was out of desperation because I'd reached a point with my other style where I was no longer effective. And working with John Sain, who I think is probably the finest pitching coach in all of baseball, he thought that if I came up with a way that I could release the ball a little bit quicker, it would put more life on my pitches, possibly become a little more aggressive and run at the hitter. And so I experimented with it, and that's where the so-called quick pitch or quick windup evolved.
It's been successful through 3 today. Ken Griffey, the batter, hits it just foul outside first. And the count is 0-1. Bottom of the fourth inning. Phillies ahead 1-0 on back-to-back fourth inning doubles by Mike Schmidt and Greg Luzinski. The Reds with Griffey, Morgan, and Perez. Griffey lays down a bunt. Schmidt is there to field, though, and gets him. Mike charging in quickly. He was playing very shallow. Got a good break on the ball and gets him by plenty. 1 down.
All right, Mike, of course, one of the best fielding third basemen in baseball. Knows that Griffey will bunt. He's got good speed right in there on the AstroTurf. Got a nice, easy hop. Good, strong throw to first base for an easy out, really. But an excellent play because really anticipation, knowing that Griffey would try to bunt.
That is no pitch. Morgan had asked for time, was granted it. Todd had delivered anyway, and Bob Boone is upset over the call by Dick Stello. Now Morgan is ready and hits it foul off to the left, 0-1.
Cott makes a good point. He says many times it matters who the home plate umpire is. Some will give him no pitch, some will give him a strike.
1-1. Stello has been waiting today, waiting for the batter to settle in. And twice now Cott has delivered, and it hasn't counted. 1-2. So Cott ahead on Morgan with Perez waiting on deck.
Cott's style is really, he throws with his arm, and it's really, Jim Cott and I have different philosophies. I'm a power pitcher and trying to use the lower part of my body, the big muscles of my leg, where Jim is really concerned and tries to use his arm when he's throwing.
There's another pitch that won't count.
Now Stello is standing there with his hand up. You get a shot of the umpire with his hand up. That means the time is not in.
Morgan hits it foul down the left field line, curling into the first row back of the Philadelphia bullpen.
Jim's letting him have it. Jim's letting him have it pretty good too, Al. He wants to pitch. He wants to upset Morgan as much as he can.
Joe hits a ground ball to the right side, and Dave Cash is there. One second baseman throws out the other. Dick Allen had a tough time finding first base that time, and Cash had to hesitate and the play a lot closer than it normally would have been. So Allen finding the bag, Cash had to wait for Dick to get back, and then able to get Morgan on a close play. 2 down, and Tony Perez is the batter. Takes a strike. Perez has the only hit for the Reds, a single in the second inning. He was subsequently erased when benched hit into a double play.
That was the eephus pitch, if you will, or his changeup. He'll use that once in a while to try and break the hitter's stride.
1-2. Not a good pitch, particularly to use to Perez. Think back to the World Series and Bill Lee in game number 7 last year. The blooper pitch out on the freeway.
Yep, that's still going. I threw Tony Perez a changeup once.
And?
Once.
And?
Once. It's still going, too.
Hit the team bus back of the bullpen in Shea. 2-2 pitch. Fouled away.
Tony Perez now gets changeups off me in spring training, and they don't count. He runs by me, says, you throw me that in during the season. Throw it during the season.
Fouled away. Let him hit him in St. Petersburg. Huh?
All right, they hit all they want down in St. Petersburg, but not up here in Cincinnati or New York.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Perez. 1-0 Philadelphia, bottom of the 4th inning, 2 out, bases empty. Chopper hit down to Schmidt. Mike Fields, and gets him. So Kahn is very sharp through 4. At the end of 4 very quick innings of play at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, the Philadelphia Phillies leading the Cincinnati Reds in game number 3, 1-0. Go to the 5th inning, 1-0 Phillies, and for more play-by-play, Warner Wolf.
All right, thank you, Al. The Phillies will have Boa, Cott, Cash, and possibly others. 1-0 Phillies. We're in the 5th. Boa fouls it out of play. Boa 0 for 6 so far in the 3 games. Phillies scored their runs. Back-to-back doubles in the 4th by Schmidt and Lazinski, and that has been it. 1 strike pitch to Boa. Rose playing in for Boa. Phillies must win or it's all over. Left center field, Geronimo and Foster. Foster's there, and there's 1 down. In case you missed it, by the way, today George Foster was named the Sporting News National League Player of the Year. Joe Morgan was 2nd in the voting, and Mike Schmidt was 3rd. Thurman Munson was named the American League Player of the Year, and Danny Ozark the National League Manager of the Year. The Sporting News selections. Here's Cott, who popped out in the 3rd inning. Goes after the first pitch. Bench with the mask off. Bench and Perez, and they collide and drop the ball. You're not going to see that much. Nolan, of course, it's his job to point out Perez or Bench. You take it.
I don't believe it, Warner.
What an unusual sight.
I don't believe it. This ball club just does not do those types of things. That's one of the things that a pitcher's job is, to come over and direct these traffic for these 2 guys. Now, they've both got their heads up. They can't be looking at each other. The pitcher's got to come over and either yell bench, 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 or Perez, or Tony, and then one of the guys will come off. You just don't see the Cincinnati Reds make those kind of mistakes.
They give Perez an error on the play. Of course, obviously, Bench, one of the finest defensive catchers in baseball, but let's face it, it's always easier to catch a pop-up like that with the fielder's glove rather than the catcher's mitt. Error Perez. 2-strike pitch to Cott is low.
That was a good example of the changeup, Warner. You could see how far out in front Cott was.
Warner Wolf along with Tom Seaver and Al Michaels. 1-0. Phillies lead, top of the 5th. 2-2 to Jim Cott.
You normally wouldn't see another pitcher throw a changeup to his opposing pitcher, but Cott is such a good athlete, really such a good hitter, that you've got to pitch to him just as if he were Another good hitter in the lineup.
Not only have 9 hitters, they have 9 fielders when Cott plays. 2-2 to Cott. Phillies, besides obviously needing a win, psychologically to save face, so to speak. 101 wins during the regular season. Popped him up. That'll be out of play. In other words, if the Phillies should lose 3 straight, unfortunately, this is what the people will remember. The 1976 Phillies lost 3 straight to the Reds. People perhaps will not remember that the Phillies won 101 ball games during the regular season.
They won just 1 less than the Cincinnati Reds, and we're really, virtually, the Reds and the Phillies are 1 and 2 in every offensive department in the league.
2-2 to Cott. And that's through there for a base hit. Jim Cott gets the 5th hit off Gary Nolan.
Now that's the mark of a ball club that's going to take advantage of mistakes, Warner. You look back a minute and a half ago to that pop-up right now. Instead of having the pitcher in the dugout and having 2 outs, you've got him on first base with a base hit. That was the kind of things that the Reds were doing in the first couple of games over in Philadelphia. Now it looks maybe the Phillies are going to get some momentum going here. Jim Cott helps himself, takes advantage of the mistake by Johnny Bench and Tony Perez.
Here's Cash, who's 4 for 10 in the series. Game number 3. If the Phillies win today, we'll be here tomorrow night at 8 o'clock for game number 4. Caught at first, 1 out. Foul ball down the right side. Jim Cott at first base. Dave Cash, the batter. Cott, an excellent base runner. In fact, is often used as a pinch runner. Don't forget tonight, 8 o'clock from Yankee Stadium. Game number 3, the Royals and the Yankees. The winner will take it 2-1. Will take a lead 2-1. And that could be 2. Morgan, Perez, double play. So that's it for the Phillies. They do not score. And we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. The score remains Philadelphia 1, Cincinnati nothing. Al, in all the years that you did the Reds games, can you ever recall Bench and Perez colliding on a pop-up?
Not too often. It's a situation that you don't see very often because normally they're very astutely trained in how the fundamentals should be done. It's something that they work on every spring when they go to Tampa. But fortunately for the Reds, it did not make a difference, right? Because had Philadelphia been able to capitalize, that might have been the key in the ball game. But Cash hits into a double play, so no damage is done, as it turns out.
All right, let's take a look at that inning-ending double play. Cott is the runner at first. Cash is the batter, and he hits it sharply right to Concepcion, to Morgan, to Perez for the double play. 6-4-3 if you're scoring. We now go to the bottom of the 5th. Foster, Bench, and Concepcion. Foster has not had a good series. He is 1 for 10. 1 for 10. That 1 hit was a home run, which put the Reds ahead 2-1, you might recall, in game number 1. Foster popped out in the 2nd inning.
One of the shadows are going to come back and be a factor here now.
Foster goes after the first pitch, and Johnstone calls everybody off. Maddox says, "Give it to me," and Johnstone takes it.
What we have here is a problem of communication, or whatever it was. Guys are having a little trouble getting together defensively, I guess.
Possibly the acoustics here with the large crowd.
Could be the noise.
Here's Bench, who's 3 for 10 in the series. Grounded into a double play in the 2nd inning. Johnny Lee Bench from Binger, Oklahoma. Remember when Bench and Nolan came up together, you had one of the youngest batteries in the history of baseball. Nolan was 18 and Bench was 19. Used to be a joke when Bench went out to talk to him. They would look at each other and say, "Look, I don't know any more than you know."
What are we doing out here? Well, you can see in front of home plate the shadows have come back into the ball game. They're going to be a factor here until they get all across, get back behind the mound again.
2-2 to Johnny Bench. Concepcion is on deck. The Phillies lead 1-0 on back-to-back doubles in the fourth inning by Schmidt and Luzinski. This is game number 3. To Bench, outside, 3-2. Todd has walked 1, which is his average total per game. 3-2 to Bench. Center field. Maddox shielding his eyes from the sun. 2 down. Here's Concepcion, who's 1 for 7 in the series. But of course, that does not include the number of hits he has taken away from the Phillies.
It's one of the great assets of being a first. You really don't care what your shortstop hits if he's a great defensive player. Concepcion, of course, being a good offensive player is just icing on the cake.
2 balls to Concepcion. The Reds have only 1 hit. Perez is single in the second. Schmidt close to the line at third. There you see Mike Schmidt, right at Boa. And that's it. 3. After 5, it's Philadelphia 1, Cincinnati nothing. We'll be back with more baseball after this word from our local station. Here's Gary Nolan, of course, who had to change his style due to an injury. Fastball pitcher to control pitcher.
Well, I think I was very fortunate to be able to throw 3 or 4 years, fairly hard and sort of set the pattern for the type of pitcher I am now. And what I mean by that is I got enough experience in the major leagues by just, mostly on a fastball that I could sort of, after a while, I established myself. And when I went on the sidelines, I was more conscious of the fact that I wasn't going to be able to throw hard for my whole career. So it'd be to my advantage to go on the side and work on a curve and change up. So I did, and then with the surgery I've had and with all the arm problems I've had in the past, it's been a blessing in disguise because I could have been a guy that could have went out there and just thrown fastballs and never really realized how to pitch. My career probably would have been ended.
All right, Gary Nolan explaining his situation as Maddox hits the second pitch and grounds out 6-3. Concepcion to Perez. Now, as Schmidt comes in, keep one thing in mind. Here you have the home run leader in the major league, Schmidt, with 38. Gary Nolan led the National League in giving up the most home runs with 28. Well, Schmidt certainly has disciplined himself. He's letting some pretty good pitches go by, Tom.
That's what we talked about before. I mean, that's a pitch that pitch is right there. That's a pitch that Mike Schmidt can really handle.
Base hit in the left field. Foster running the ball down. Schmidt goes halfway and comes back to first. So Schmidt is 2 for 3. Single and a double. And is now 3 for 11 in the series. Let's take a look at Rose playing the third baseline. Over Rose's head. So Nolan will now have to face Luzinski, who doubled in Schmidt for the only run of the game in the fourth inning. One to nothing. Phillies lead. We're in the sixth. The Phillies must win today or it is all over. And the throw to first by Boone.
It was a good throw by George Foster in left field. Well, we were talking about that last night. Remember, when you're a kid playing pickup ball, you always put your worst fielder out in right field. Well, that's not the case here in Major League Baseball. You put the guy with your best arm in right field. The situation could occur right here. Let's say Greg Luzinski gets a base hit to right field. You want to try and keep the runner in first from getting all the way around to third. The strong arm in right field will keep the runner at second base, not letting him get to third.
Excuse me, Tom. Billy DeMar's third base coach giving the signals. Schmidt at first, 1 out. Right field, out of play. Alabama and Tennessee this coming Saturday. NCAA football here on ABC. That'll be 3:30 Eastern Time. Alabama and Tennessee. Certainly an excellent Southeast Conference game. 3:30 this Saturday here on ABC. Alabama and Tennessee. Schmidt leads off first. One out in the sixth. Lazinski. Center field. Geronimo on his horse near the fence. He's got it. Cesar Geronimo pulls it in just about near the 385 situation.
Two good plays in the Cincinnati outfield today. There's the second one by Geronimo. The first one, of course, by Foster and against Boone in left field. Geronimo just covers a tremendous amount of ground in left field. He's like a gazelle out there. Not only the fantastic throwing arm, I would think probably the best throwing arm of any center fielder in Major League Baseball. Tremendous speed.
2 out. Schmidt still at first. Schmidt stole 14 bases this year. This is Allen. Allen faced Nolan 6 times this year and had 3 hits, 2 doubles and a home run.
He got one of those 28 home runs, huh?
That's right. Phillies lead 1-0. We're in the 6th. There goes Schmidt. Al, what do you think? Think Schmidt had that base stolen?
He got a pretty good jump on Gary Nolan that time. Bench almost got hit on the bare hand by the foul tip coming back. You know, you talked about before the fact that when you're a kid, the worst guy goes out to play right field. Same thing, you look at Bench here. It used to be the odd man out was the catcher. Oh, yeah, well, this guy can't play. We'll put him back at the plate. We want the glamour spot. Shortstop, we want to pitch. This guy has probably done more to glamorize one position than any other man.
Yes, he has. Schmidt does not go. Once again, keep in mind this is Bench's 18th championship playoff game. No one has ever stolen a base off Johnny Bench in championship play. 2 balls, 1 strike to Richie Allen. Schmidt at first with 2 outs. The Phillies have 6 hits. The Reds 1. A single by Perez in the 2nd inning.
Joe Morgan's playing Richie DePaul here, and they're playing him the opposite way in the outfield. It's kind of unusual one. He's got very good power the other way. But on the right side of the infield, Morgan is really kind of over behind second base, and in the outfield, they're playing him to right field. Don't play him to pull in the outfield. That's unusual.
2 balls, 1 strike to Richie Allen. 2 outs. Top of the 6th. Phillies lead 1-0. Schmidt at first. Allen 2 for 8 in the series. Three and 1 to Allen. All right, gentlemen, what about it? Hit sign for Richie Allen if it's over?
No question he's going to swing. He's 3 for 6 or whatever, 2 doubles and the home run.
2 for 8.
Don't give that number 5 hitter very many
Nolan.
take signs. 3 and 1.
No, he's got to be swinging here.
There goes Schmidt. Throw to second. And you see it. The first stolen base against Johnny Bench. Now, look, Bench is saying, what about a foul tip? And they're checking with the third base umpire.
Allen walked. It's
Ball
academic
4.
at second.
That's right.
Ball 4.
You're right. Excuse me. Absolutely. Stand corrected.
I think Bench is appealing for a strike. He thought the pitch was a strike. A breaking ball. Looked like it might have been in the strike zone. There you see Schmidt going down the second. Got a good jump. He's got exceptionally deceptive speed for a big man. He's really a fast third baseman.
Bench maintained the ball was tipped. And for strike, that would have been 3 and 2.
A lot of things going off now. Joe Morgan, I don't think he's quit, but he's gone to the bench. He's getting another pair of shoes.
New shoes. This is the second half shoes. So no stolen base.
It's the left shoe if you're keeping score.
Left shoe 1, right shoe nothing, right? Could have been Spike down there at second base. Mike Schmidt sliding in, or could have broken his shoelaces. A lot of things could happen.
Jay Johnstone will be the batter with 2 out and 2 on, and Johnstone, the hottest man in the series, 5 for 6. 5 for 6 against Reds pitching in this 3-game series. Make it 5 for 7 now. So Allen walks with 2 outs. The first walk given up by Nolan. John William J. Johnstone. 1 ball pitch to Johnstone. Jay looks a little like Warren Beatty. Schmidt at second, Allen at first. 2 out in the Phillies' 6th. Philadelphia leads 1-0. 1-1 count on Jay Johnstone. Phillies have led in all 3 games. Game 1, 1-0. Game 2, they led 2-0. And lead here 3-0. Excuse me, 1-0 in game 3. 2 ball, 1 strike pitch to Johnstone. 3-1.
Reds have Manny Sarmiento again throwing in the bullpen. He was up earlier in the 4th inning when they scored on the doubles by Schmidt and Luzinski.
Nolan has fallen behind on the last 4 hitters. 3-1 to Johnstone. Schmidt at second, Allen at first, 2 outs. And Johnstone goes after the 3-1 and fouls it out of play.
There's a pitch that was out of the strike zone. One of that fastball upstairs. That's really not the pitch that he should be looking for in that situation. At least in the strike zone. He's got to look for the fastball, obviously, but he's got to get it down where he can handle it.
So everybody moves on this one. Schmidt off of second, Allen off of first. 3-2 to Johnstone, 2 outs. Nolan's 3-2. There go the runners. Out of play.
They have good speed on both the bases now. Mike Schmidt, very good speed at second base. Richie Allen runs very well at first base. Johnstone as well at plate with a 3-2 count has very good speed.
Boone on deck. Should Johnstone get on? The pitch is low. The bases are loaded for Boone. So Nolan walks his 2nd consecutive batter. And that'll bring up Boone, who's 2 for 6 in the series.
That pitch there will drive a pitcher crazy, Warren. I can tell you from experience. Not only do you not want to go to 3-2 with men on base, but then when you get to 3-2, at least you want to throw a pitch that's got a chance to be a strike. Now, Gary threw that pitch low and in. It was in the dirt. I mean, there's not even no possibility of the umpire calling that pitch a strike. Now he's got the bases loaded. Bob Boone at the plate.
Johnstone, Allen, and Schmidt, your base runners. There you see Schmidt at third, Allen at second, and Johnstone at first base. 2 out.
It looks like something might be wrong with Gary Nolan. Maybe his shoulder is bothering him. I'm not sure. Larry Shepard, the pitching coach of the Cincinnati Reds, has gone out. If you see action in the Cincinnati bullpen, Shepard has gone to the mound. He doesn't look very comfortable, whether his shoulder is getting him tight or just exactly what it is. Of course, we can't tell up here. But he's having some control problems, and he doesn't look like he's very fluid to me. Looks like he might be trying to force the ball. You see him bending over. He's hurting somewhere.
Tom, in your career, has there ever been a time when you actually felt that you didn't have it anymore and a manager came out and said, what about it? And you told a little white lie and stayed in there?
Oh, no question. That happens all the time. Here comes Sparky Anderson out of the Cincinnati dugout. Something's wrong on the mound.
They had to ask for permission for Sparky to come out here, and it doesn't count as a trip to the mound in the sense that he's checking for an injury, but they're going to bring in Sarmiento anyway. I'm wondering if Nolan is hurt, if it doesn't go back to when he covered first base in the 3rd inning on Boa's ground ball. he came away from that a little bit shaky.
He didn't look right walking away from first base up there, didn't he? I couldn't tell exactly what happened, but he didn't look quite right.
So it's possible that's where this might have started. And Sparky's not going to take any chances. He's going to bring in Sarmiento.
So Gary Nolan gets a nice hand as he walks off the mound and goes 5 2/3 innings, allows 6 hits and 1 run, but would be charged if any of the 3 base runners score. This is Manny Sarmiento, only 22 years old, and the first Venezuelan pitcher in the history of Major League Baseball. Remember, they called him up in July?
Pretty tough spot also. It's his first championship series action, but in his first appearance, he was the winner in a game in relief for the Reds. Did very well at Indianapolis. He was going great guns down there, and Rich Hinton was having his problems working out of the Cincinnati bullpen, so they sent Hinton down and brought Sarmiento up, and he's done a great job in relief for them.
He was recommended by Dave Concepcion.
I think David said he struck him out in Venezuela. The Reds heard about that, figured they better take a look at Sarmiento.
Don't forget tonight here on ABC, 8 o'clock, the Yankees and Royals in game number 3 from Yankee Stadium. Howard Cosell, Reggie Jackson, and Keith Jackson. The winner will take the lead 2 games to 1, meaning the loser of tonight's game must come back and win 2 straight. This is Bob Boone. The bases are loaded, 2 outs. Johnstone at first, Allen at second, Schmidt at third. The Phillies lead 1-0. Sarmiento has come in to try and pitch the Reds out of it, and perhaps trail by still only 1 run. Boone goes after the first pitch from Sarmiento. He's already walking off the mound as Geronimo pulls it in. So Sarmiento, with 1 pitch, gets Bob Boone and gets the Reds out of a jam. So we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. The score remains Philadelphia 1, Cincinnati 0. Al, I think you called it right on the nose. The word is that Gary Nolan had a strained groin, and you said Boone hit that ball and Nolan covered first. He didn't look right after he ran over and covered the base.
Very possible. Nolan was pitching well, and then all of a sudden started to lose his rhythm and had to come out of the game. But Nolan pitched very, very well. Sarmiento came on, threw 1 pitch, and Boone chased it and flied out to end a big threat.
You know, it looks like something had to be wrong with him because he doesn't walk anybody usually during the game. All of a sudden walked Allen and Johnstone back to back.
This is Geronimo going after the first pitch, fouling it off. Sarmiento is on deck. And what a job he did, huh? 1 pitch, boom, that's it. Cesar Geronimo has not had a good series offensively. 1 for 9. Hit .307 in the regular season. And during the regular season, 1 for 9 against Cott. So Geronimo 1 for 10 against Cott this year.
The Cincinnati fans are ready, Warner. You can see, you can hear them. They're ready. They want to rally. They want to get the Big Red Machine offense going.
Outside to Geronimo, 2-2.
There's a little champagne on ice in this town.
And some good German beer, too, right?
2-2 to Geronimo, out of play. A chance right then, of course, in the top half of the 6th for the Phillies to break it open. But the score remains 1-0. And as Joe Morgan said, when we trail 1-0, that's no lead. Swing and a miss, that's it for Geronimo. Cott's first strikeout. Geronimo is now 1 for 11 against Cott this year.
You know, after he gets by Sarmiento, then it's really going to be interesting because Cott this season quite often will go through the order a couple of times, and then you'll start to gauge him a little bit better the 3rd time around. And now after Sarmiento, the lineup has been turned over twice.
His motion is very deceptive, and that's one of the things that makes him an effective pitcher. Exactly right, Al. Once you do see him a couple of times, you begin to get comfortable up at the plate with him.
Sarmiento, as a batter, has never had a base hit in Major League Baseball. Went to bat 7 times this year, 0 for 7.
The Reds in trouble. I mean, they've had a lot of trouble with Cott today. They still only have 1 hit and really have not hit the ball hard all day. Cott looks to me as if he's throwing very well. You have to be extremely strong to throw with his kind of motion, with his mechanics, with a tremendously strong arm and shoulder.
Cash to Allen. 2 gone here in the 6th. And that'll bring up Pete Rose. Rose, who holds just about every offensive record in playoffs. Don't forget, of course, the story last night, the erroneous story, which Rose denied earlier today. False. He does not want to be traded. True story. Pete Rose. Most hits in championship play, most doubles, most singles, most total bases, most hits.
You could hear the hand he got when he came up there. These fans know that he's the guy that gets this machine going. They're looking for a base hit from Pete, but that's a ground ball to Cash. Throws him out easy at first.
That's it for the Reds. 1, 2, 3. They go down, and after 6 complete, Jim Cott working on a strong one-hitter. It's Philadelphia 1, Cincinnati nothing. Boa, Cott, and Cash against Sarmiento here in the Phillies 7. 3 times the Phillies have had the bases loaded in these 3 games and have not scored. Boa this afternoon 0 for 2. He's 0 for 7 in the series. 30-year-old Lawrence Robert Boa. Two balls to Boa. Only run of the game. Back-to-back doubles in the 4th inning by Schmidt and Lazinski, and that's been it. 2-0 to Boa.
This young pitcher's going to be 21 years old pretty soon. There's Jim Cott on deck. 20 years old pitching in the playoff game here.
Facing a pitcher 18 years older than him. 3-0 to Boa.
He'll be taken again, I would imagine, Warner, no question. You got the pitcher coming up next. You want to utilize that pitcher, get a sacrifice out of him, get Boa down to second base. That's a high National League strike right there. That ball's up there.
Ron Reed warming up in the Philly bullpen. 6'6" Ron Reed, former rebounder for the Detroit Pistons. 3-2 to Boa. He walks him. So Boa gets on to lead off the Phillies 7th. That'll bring up Cott, who singled in the 5th inning, but keep in mind his purpose now is to move Boa along. An excellent bunter, Jim Cott.
Reds now have more bone throwing in the bullpen. Pedro pitched 4 very strong innings in relief of Pat Zachary on Sunday.
Concepcion talking to Sarmiento in their native tongue, no doubt. Jim Cott, who will be 38 years old next month, squares to bunt. Does so. Nice bunt, first base side. Perez, 1 play to Morgan, so the sacrifice works. 3-4 if you're scoring. Boa moves to second, and that'll bring up Cash. So the Phillies have 2 shots to bring Boa in with Cash and Maddox.
Cott reminds me a lot of Seaver. He does so many things to help himself. Bunts, gets a base hit now and then. Well, you used to get base hits anyway. Feels his position.
Now and then is right.
Here's Cash, 1 for 3 this afternoon. He's 4 for 12 in the series. Boa with a good lead off second base. Manny Sarmiento from Venezuela working for the Reds. This is Dave Cash. Boa at second. 1 out. Phillies batting, top of the 7th. Philadelphia leads 1-0. One 1 to Dave Cash. Led the National League in triples this year. Bone warming up in the Red bullpen. You remember what he did in Game 2. 4 innings shutout ball. Pitch to Cash. Left field. Foster shades his eyes. Has it in range. One-hands it. And Boa returns to second. So Cash flies out to left. And that'll leave it up to Maddox. Philly shooting for that insurance run to take the bunt away from Cincinnati. Maddox 0 for 3 this afternoon. He's 2 for 11 in the series. Gary Lee Maddox from Cincinnati, Ohio. And there it goes in the left field. That'll be a base hit. Boa will score. Foster runs it down to the wall. Maddox on his way to second will make it in the second. The Phillies lead 2-0.
That's a big run batted in right there, Warner. That's what the Phillies have not been doing, getting that other run in with 2 outs. They just haven't been getting the clutch base hit when they needed it. And there again, the thing, Maddox swinging at the first pitch and lining a double down the left field line, scoring the runner easily from second base. And then again, you've got Mike Schmidt coming up. Maddox right down at second base in scoring position.
Larry Shepard out to the mound to talk with Bench and Sarmiento.
I'm wondering if Shepard is not talking about, do you think we'd have a better shot getting Schmidt or Luzinski at this point? They're both right-handed batters, and it could be that Manny's style may be more conducive to getting Luzinski as opposed to Schmidt. That's possible. We'll see.
Tom, who would you rather pitch to?
I don't think so. I think they're going to go after Schmidt. They can't pitch around this guy, and the other guy pop one out of here. They'd be down 5-0. I think they got to go right after this hitter, Mike Schmidt.
Schmidt 2 for 3 this afternoon, single and a double. He's 3 for 11 in the playoff series. Maddox at second. Schmidt lines it. It's a fair ball. Over the bag. Maddox will score. Schmidt will get his second double of the day, and it's 3-0 Phillies. So Mike Schmidt with 2 doubles and a single puts the Phillies ahead 3-0. And look at the Philly dugout. They're all up. They're all up to congratulate Maddox. They're all up ready to go. The Phillies are on their feet. They lead 3-0, and that's it for Manuel Sarmiento. He is out of this ball game.
That's exactly what this club is need, Warner. They need those guns, big guns. Come through.
Sarmiento leaves the game. We'll be back in just a moment. This is Pedro Borbon working to Greg Luzinski. Mike Schmidt at second base. 2 outs. The Phillies lead 3-0. Luzinski fouls it out of play. Luzinski 1 for 3 this afternoon. Doubled in Schmidt in the 4th inning to put the Phillies ahead 1-0. Borbon, you recall, worked in game 2, went 4 innings, allowed 4 hits, no runs. In 16 2/3 against the Phillies this year, he's allowed only 1 earned run. A ball and 2 strikes. 25-year-old Greg Luzinski.
Warner, I think one important thing to mention at this point, if the Phils have gotten these 2 runs in with 2 outs, something they weren't doing. This
2-2 to Luzinski, right at Concepcion to Perez, and that's it for the Phillies. But Philadelphia scores twice in this 7th inning on a walk by Boa and doubles by Maddox and Schmidt. So, with the Reds coming to bat in the bottom of the 7th inning, it's Philadelphia 3, Cincinnati 0. Warner Wolf along with Al Michaels and Tom Seaver. It's the bottom of the 7th inning of game 3. The Phillies lead 3-0. Jim Cott is working on a 1-hit shutout. Griffey, Morgan, and Perez for the Reds here in the 7th. Griffey after the first pitch. Nice play by Cash. Throw to first, safe. So Ken Griffey, who beat out, here's Griffey again. Griffey, who has beaten out 75 infield hits the last 2 years, 38 last year, 37 this year, beats out another infield hit. Now, Morgan has been playing games all day with Cott. He'll step in the box and call time. In other words, time is still out while Morgan's in the box. The pitch. That's what is upsetting Cott. Morgan will step in, but time is still called.
That's unusual, Warner, because usually the umpire, once that hitter does get into the box and take his stance, he'll let the pitcher go ahead and pitch the home plate.
2 balls and a strike to Joe Morgan. The Cincinnati crowd comes alive. Perez is on deck. The Phillies lead 3-0. We're in the 7th. Griffey at first base. Ball 3. Morgan has walked 5 times in this series.
Still looking for his first base hit, believe it or not. Been on base all those times with base on balls, but still looking for number 1 on base hits.
Morgan 0 for 6 in the series. However, has stolen 2 bases. 4 walks. 3-2 to Morgan. Notice Morgan take off his batting glove and put on his sliding glove. There you see Ron Reed in the Philly bullpen.
This crowd, this crowd is really getting with it, aren't they? It's the first chance the Cincinnati Reds have really got something going. They are really Reds country people here.
And that is going to be it for Jim Cott. How about that?
Well, he's got to figure that he's got the right-handed hitters coming up right now. He's got Perez, Foster, and Bench. And Cott gave him, I think, what he wanted. Give me 6, I think, was Danny's thought. And he figures with the 3 right-handed hitters coming up right now, he's got a better shot with Reed.
Of course, Cott obviously not very happy. I don't blame him, but I think you got to play the percentages here. And he'll hustle off the field. There's one fine gentleman right there. Jim Cott. He pitched a whale of a ball game so far today, and if the Phillies hang on, they're ahead here 3-0. He'll be the winning pitcher.
So Jim Cott goes 6 full innings, allows 2 hits, 2 singles, 2 walks, and leaves with a 3-0 lead. This is Ron Reed. Also, one other change. Bobby Tolan has gone to left field. Greg Lazinski is out of the ball game for defensive purposes. This program is being brought to you as a special presentation of ABC Sports. Let's pause 5 seconds now to allow our local stations to identify themselves.
WAST Albany, Channel 13.
This is Ron Reed. 33 years old from LaPorte, Indiana. Was 8-7 this year, had 14 saves. But here is the interesting statistic. He's 14-13 lifetime against the Cincinnati Reds. And any time you hold an advantage over the Reds lifetime, you must be doing something right.
Warner, they're bringing Tolan in here. Lazinski made the last out in the inning, so they're going to flip the order. Have Reed hit 4th. Tolan goes to left field. He's going to hit in the number 9 spot. Ozark figuring that Lazinski might not come up again. So that's why he makes the switch, the double switch here.
All right, this is Perez, 1 for 8 in the series, single in the 2nd inning. Morgan at first, Griffey at second, nobody out. Reds trail 3-0. Reed, you might recall, pitched in Game 2, went 2 2/3, allowed only 1 hit.
They got Reed from St. Louis last winter from the St. Louis Cardinals. Of course, he pitched a long time for the Atlanta Braves.
So Perez fouls it out of play. 2 strikes to Tony Perez.
Down in Atlanta, he was a fastball slider pitcher and had a big changeup. And the thing that he's done differently, I think, this year, has gone back to his fastball, and he's been very aggressive with that fastball, and has made him a very effective relief pitcher. 2
of the best base runners on the bases at this point, Griffey and Morgan. 2 strikes to Perez. Out of play down the right field line. Little trivia for you. Reed was the winning pitcher when Aaron hit his 715th off Al Downing. 2 strikes to Tony Perez, the all-time Cincinnati RBI man. Griffey and Morgan, the runners. There it goes, center field, base hit. Griffey around third, he'll score. Maddox up with the ball. Morgan's going to try for third. The throw goes to the second. It's 3-1.
tell you, that Tony Perez is some hitter with men on base. He is just absolutely incredible. He just goes up there and he got men in scoring position time and time again. You see him drive those runs in. He's really an incredible on-base hitter.
Here's George Foster, the National League's leading RBI man. Fouls it off to the right.
Pretty good bit of base running by Morgan also. Maddox covers a lot of ground, but does not really have a great arm. And Morgan gambled, went to third, and hoped that the throw would go to third. They get the tying run to second. But Maddox threw into second base.
Something they did not do the other day. He threw the wrong base. This time, there's Tug McGraw on the Philadelphia bullpen, warming up.
Who has not been effective in this series.
He's had 2 bad outings. Talked to him last night. He's very unhappy with the way that he's pitched so far.
Nobody out. Perez at first. Morgan at third. 3-1. Foster the batter. A ball and 2 strikes to George. Foster, 1 for 11 in this series. That one hit was a home run in game number 1. 3-1. Phillies lead. Jim Cott has just been knocked out, replaced by Ron Reed.
When I got to the ballpark this morning, Warner Foster was down underneath the stands, hitting balls off the tee. He was practicing keeping his left side in at the plate. He felt he was opening up too much. Here's a guy down the end of the season underneath practicing all by himself, trying to smooth his swing out.
The pitch to Foster. Right field. Johnstone's back near the fence. He's got it. Morgan tags easily and scores. Perez holds it first, and the Phillies lead 3-2. A sacrifice fly by George Foster. Warner Wolf along with Al Michaels and Tom Seaver. Here at Riverfront Stadium, the Reds have just cut the Phillies lead from 3-0 to 3-2. Perez at first base, 1 out. Johnny Bench is the batter.
You know, this ball club, this Cincinnati club, they just sit back there. They know they're going to get going sometime. You just don't shut them out. You don't shut them out, especially here at Riverfront Stadium. They were going along, and Jim Cott had them a one-hitter. They know they're going to get their offense rolling sometime. Somebody's going to get on. All of a sudden, boom, they got 2 runs on the board. Look who's up at the plate. Johnny Bench went after a big, slow curveball.
Tony Perez surprisingly stole 10 bases this year. He's at first with 1 out. 1 ball, 1 strike to Johnny Bench. Ron Reed in relief of Jim Cott. Bench 0 for 2 in this game and 3 for 11 in the series. Reed's pitch to Bench. Cincinnati went into this inning trailing 3-0. Griffey singled. Morgan walked. Perez singled in Griffey. Morgan went to third. Foster's just knocked him in with a sacrifice fly. It's 3-2. Outside the Bench, 3-1. Concepcion would be next.
Reed is definitely having control problems here. He get behind the hitters. Doesn't look comfortable on the mound at all. He's falling off to the left. Can't get behind the hitter like Johnny Bench.
3-1 the Bench. Ball 4.
Reed is mad. He thought that pitch was a strike. He is hot at the umpire. He came in off the mound, said a couple words, kicking the dirt behind the rubber on the mound. Bob Boone, of course, went out to him, tried to settle him down a little bit.
All right, check this confrontation. You'll recall Reed was quoted as saying, "If Concepcion ever crowds the plate, I will kill him." He said he was misquoted. He said, "I will drill him." So as Concepcion steps in, he's facing Reed.
He's not going to drill him in this situation.
No way.
He's got men on first and second, 1 out. He's got a job to do. He's got the tying run at second base. Tony Perez and the go-ahead run for the Cincinnati Reds at first base, Johnny Bench.
1 out pitch to Concepcion, pops him up. Cash at second. Automatic infield fly rule. 2 down.
Now Ozark has an interesting decision to make. He's got McGraw in the bullpen. The Reds have the left-handing Geronimo coming up. But if he were to go to McGraw, who you see now, it's possible that Anderson would then go to his bench, and he's got Bob Bailey and Ed Armbrister. And so Ozark right now is on his way to the mound. It'll be interesting to see what Danny does here.
Plummer, Bailey, Youngblood, Armbruster, or Flynn. You know, some people say Anderson might be in trouble with the designated hitter if they make the World Series. I don't see what the complaint would be.
Yeah, what trouble?
You got to remember, too, that Tug McGraw, in his 2 outings for the Phillies over at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, was very ineffective. Talked to Tug last night. We were at dinner at the same restaurant, and he said he was very unhappy with the way that he's thrown the ball. 2 wild pitches, bad control.
Tom Seaver giving his analysis here along with Warner Wolf and Al Michaels. This is Cesar Geronimo, 1 for 10 in the series. 2 out, 2 on. Perez at second, bench at first. The Reds trail 3-2. We're in the home 7th. Reed working against Geronimo. 1-1 count to Cesar Francisco Geronimo.
Geronimo's 1 for 10 in the series so far in these 3 games. He gets a base hit here. It'll be a big one. Could tie up the ball game for the Reds here in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Perez at second, bench at first. 2 outs. Phillies lead 3-2. Reed's 1-1 to Caesar is low.
Pitcher spot next. Bourbon out on deck, but Eastwood throwing in the bullpen.
Two balls, 1 strike to Geronimo. Make it 3-1.
George Sugar at third base flashing the sign. Don't know whether Geronimo will get the hit in this situation or not. This is definitely a manager's decision.
Perez at second, bench at first. 3-1 to Geronimo. So Perez gets a break here. Not the fastest man in the world will get the break and run on the 3-2 pitch. 2 on, 2 out, 3-2 to Geronimo. There go the runners. Left field. Here comes Bobby Tolan coming in. Tolan coming in. Can't get it. Base hit is fired. Perez scores. Bench scores. On his way to third is Geronimo. He's in with a triple. The Reds lead 4-3. Watch it again and keep in mind Bobby Tolan went into left field at the start of this inning to replace Greg Lazinski. Geronimo slices it to left field. Tolan coming in. Bounces over his head on the artificial turf. Schmidt, the third baseman, has to run the ball down in left field. The third baseman runs the ball down in left field. Perez and bench score. The Reds lead 4-3.
It's funny, even on that play, they ended up with nobody at third base. Nobody covering third base. That's why Geronimo got away around. There's a shot of a very gloomy Philadelphia Phillies bench. They're pretty unhappy right now. The Reds have scored 4 runs here in the bottom of the 7th. Philadelphia was leading 3-0. All of a sudden, 4 runs up, and the Phillies are down by a run.
Mike Lum will come in and pinch hit for Pedro Bourbon. Hey, let me ask you a question. With a 4-3 lead, 2 outs, what are the chances on Geronimo trying to steal home? You don't go for it?
Not with a left-hand hitter here, no.
Think back to the double switch in the inning also. Luzinski started the inning in left. Tolan came on, then had to try to back up on the ball, realizing he didn't have a play.
I think he had a little trouble with the sun out there, too.
Exactly.
Just initially when he left, he couldn't judge how far the ball was hit.
2 strikes to Lum. Out of play. Lum against Reed, former teammates with the Braves. So the Cincinnati Reds shut out for 6 innings, and only 1 hit against Jim Cott explode here in the home 7th with 2 singles, 2 walks, and a tainted triple by Cesar Geronimo. Cincinnati fans now begin to sense it, begin to feel the National League pennant. .30-year-old Mike Lum, the batter. Geronimo at third. Left field. Tolan back. He's got it. So Bobby Tolan with a one-handed catch at least keeps the score 4-3. So after 7 complete innings, a 4-run rally by the Reds. It's Cincinnati 4, Philadelphia 3. We'll be back with more baseball after this word from our local station. As we see Rollins Jackson Eastwick III. Let's have a listen and see what Raleigh had to say.
Yeah, one main thing that I rely on, John, is if a guy's going to say, it's late innings, 7th, 8th, 9th inning, and John's catching, we've got a pinch hitter coming up. And like last year, it happened a few times, but you need to be reminded. And I'll say, John, what do you think we ought to throw this hitter? And I'll say, throw your fastball. He can't hit your fastball. I think, well, great, that makes me feel good, and it gives me a lot of confidence. And that's one thing John does, is instill a lot of confidence in young pitchers, which is a thing I know he realizes he has to do, and he does it well.
All right, to carry us along the way to see whether the Reds win the National League pennant or the Phillies stay alive, here's Al Michaels.
All right, Warner, Eastwick had his problems on Saturday night, gave up 2 runs, but threw well in the Reds' victory. Dick Allen to lead off, and the first pitch is high, ball 1. Allen, Johnstone, and Boone in the 8th inning. Philadelphia trailing 4-3. Seeing a 3-0 lead evaporate in the 7th inning. In there, and the count is 1-1. Eastwick this season against Philadelphia 1-2, but pitched well, allowed only 4 earned runs in 14 innings. A late swing and a miss, and the count on Allen is 1-2. Phillies are really in a box now. They had the lead and they made the double switch, and now they have no more Luzinski. He came out of the game when Reed came in. Two and two. That may be academic. They've got to turn the lineup over.
They got to get all the way around to him, Al. If they do that, they'll be able to score a couple of runs.
Foul tip. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count.
The Reds have done it to them again. They've gotten them down to 6 outs and put them down a run. The Phillies, in the late innings of every ball game, have been playing catch-up baseball. And I don't know, the Reds just put 4 runs on that board so quickly. Cott was pitching so well.
Allen fouls it away down the line and right, and the count 2-2. Phillies saw a 1-0 lead disappear in game 1, a 2-0 lead disappear in game 2, and a 3-0 lead disappear in game 3.
Right here, and it disappeared quickly. It really did. They got a couple of breaks, a couple of base on balls.
2-2 to Dick Allen. Got him swinging. So Raleigh Eastwick strikes Allen out, 1 away here in the 8th inning, and that'll bring up Jay Johnstone. Johnstone has singled, grounded out, and drawn a walk. Four runs, 4 hits, and 1 error for the Reds. 3 runs, 8 hits, and no errors for the Phillies. 1-0 the count. Eastwick, the 4th pitcher used by the Reds today. Nolan started. groin strain came out. Sarmiento, Bourbon, and now Eastwick. Bourbon is the pitcher of record. 1-1 the count. Bob Boone to follow. Johnstone hits it, a bad hop off the seam, off Perez's shoulder and into the stands for a ground rule double. So Perez had to back up. He was eaten alive by the ball as it took a hop off the seam and off his shoulder and into the seats for a ground rule double for Johnstone. We'll see it again on the replay.
AstroTurf can be very tough to feel at certain times. It's put down in sections, and there are seams out there, and the ball's hitting a certain seam. It'll take a funny carom. I've never seen a ball hit a first baseman in that position and then go into the stands. You see once in a while in the outfield, a ball will hit and then go in, but it's the first time I've seen it over there.
Bob Boone, the batter, after the first pitch, fouls it back. Boone has flied out twice and fouled out. In the series, he is 2 for 7. 4-3 Cincinnati. 8th inning, 1 down. Tying run, Johnstone at second. In the dirt and away from bench, and Johnstone will go to third.
2 breaks in a row, Al. Now, that's something the Phillies were not getting the first couple of games. Here they are down a run. All of a sudden, boom, a ball bounces into the stands. They get a man at second base. The ball gets away from Johnny Bench. Boom, he's down at third base with 1 out. A chance for Bob Boone to hit a sacrifice fly. Get him tied up in the ball game again. Took the ball hit down in front of John. Came up, hit off the heel of his glove or his shoulder. Bounced off to his left. Of course, by the time he got it, Johnstone standing on third base.
Jay went to the bench, took his helmet off, put the soft cap on. Lose a little weight.
You run a little bit faster, right?
Little fleeter. 1-1. Now time called. Dave Concepcion is looking over toward the Reds bench saying, where do you want us to play? And they're going to play in. So with the lead, they're still going to play the infield in. 4-3 in the 8th inning.
I think they're going to play to win. Obviously, they're going to play to win. Sparky wants him in. He doesn't want to fool around. He tries to win it right here in the 3rd game.
Just outside. 2-1 the count on Boone. Boa waiting on deck.
Those last 2 plays have quieted the crowd down a little bit. They were really excited on every pitch that Eastwick was throwing.
And again just outside. So Raleigh just missing. He thinks he's getting squeezed. 3-1 the count.
Both Eastwick and Reed a little unhappy with some of the calls they've been getting. I never knew a pitcher to be unhappy with some of the calls he gets from. No, never happened.
Here's the 3-1 pitch to Bob Boone. Outside, he's on. So Boone goes to first with Johnstone the tying run at third, and Larry Boa coming up, and Boa still looking for his first hit in the series. He is 0 for 2 plus a walk today.
You know, this will set up an interesting situation here. It's a double play, of course. They get him out of the inning, and they'll still go ahead 4-3, be ahead 4-3, but the runner at the plate, Larry Boa, outstanding speed, is not going to ground into many double plays because of that speed.
That's Will McInerney throwing in the bullpen back of Eastwick. The Phillies may go to a pinch runner here. And they do. It'll be Terry Harmon who comes in to pinch run for Bob Boone. So Harmon goes to first base. Terry aboard there, held on by Tony Perez. Now the Reds infield looking over and saying, where do you want us? And Sparky says, double play depth.
Sparky's right up in front of the dugout directing traffic. He's telling his infielders where he wants them to play, what they're going to do, how they're going to go for the double play on certain balls. They may go home if the ball is not hit sharply.
Larry Boa looks at the strike. 0-1 the count. Anderson in the Reds dugout. Boa loops it to shallow left field. Foster comes on, but it falls in and gets behind him and into foul territory. That will tie the game, send Harmon to third, and Boa has a looping double. So a couple of soft lines to left field have been the big plays in this one.
Well, the worm has turned inside of 10 minutes here for both teams. There's Sparky. He's not very happy with the situation, but here's a replay of it. Larry just punches the ball down the left field line, and it looks like Foster might have a play at the ball. If he does catch it, if he were to get in there and catch it, Johnstone would have been unable to score because he's not that far from home base. Ball gets away from George. It's the same thing that happened to Bobby Tolan in the left field for the Phillies on Geronimo's ball.
Now Tolan will come up. Before he does, he and Billy DeMars get together. With one out, Ozark Tolan, and there's McInerney in the bullpen again. Will, a left-hander, had a great rookie year last year, really tailed off and had his problems this season. They're going to walk Tolan now, put Bobby aboard, and go to work on the top of the order. So what Anderson wants to do is keep Eastwick in the game and have him face the right-handed batters as opposed to bringing McInerney in here to face just one man and then seeing the top of the order, which is right-handed, Cash, Maddox, and Smith.
Cash, of course, did ground into a double play in the 5th inning. That was after the drop pop-up by Perez and Bench, and then Cott got a base hit. Kind of snuffed out a rally, and of course Sparky would love to see another double play here.
All right, one thing to keep in mind, this is the 4th time the Phillies have loaded the bases in the 3 games. They have never scored when they've loaded the bases. And of course now both Cott and Nolan are off the hook. It's Eastwick against Reed.
Phillies loaded the bases in the 6th inning, and then Boone flied out on Sarmiento's first pitch. Bases loaded, 8th inning, a 4-4 tie. 1 down. Dave Cash 1 for 3 today, 4 for 13 in the series. Infield double play depth. In there, 0-1.
He was taking all the way right there. Going to try and get ahead so he can get his pitch, I think. Little Mike Schmidt philosophy.
Eastwick, strike 1 pitch. Breaking ball is fouled back, and the count 0-2. Bases loaded. The Phillies have Terry Harmon at 3rd. Larry Boa at 2nd. Bobby Tolan at 1st. 1 down, a 4-4 tie in the 8th inning. Up high, 1-2 the count. On deck is Gary Maddox. Phils have out-hit the Reds 10-4 today. Led 1-0, 3-0, then trailed 4-3, and now they've tied it in the 8th. Up and in, and the count is 2-2.
One thing the pitcher does not want to do here, Alan, we've talked about it before today, is go to 3-2. The hitter has the distinct advantage if that situation is going to happen. He's got to go right after it. He's got a hitter up there, Dave Cash, who is very difficult to strike out.
Outfield is shading Cash toward right.
I got to guess that he's going to go with his fastball. Best pitch here.
Outside, ball 3, 3-2. Jim Cott leading the cheering section. 3 balls, 2 strikes, the count on Cash. 1 down in the 8th. Foul back, just got a piece of it. 3-2.
And once again, he almost struck out the hardest man in baseball to fan. Struck out only 13 times all year.
A look toward 3rd, and the 3-2 to Cash is punched foul off to the right. If there's a 4th game, we'll have it for you on ABC tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. The probables, Don Gullett, Steve Carlton in the matchup of game number 1. Tonight at 8 o'clock, game 3 from Yankee Stadium, American League. Yanks Royals. 3-2 delivery is hit in the air to right field and deep enough to score a run. Griffey will make the catch. Harmon is tagging. The throw will go to 3rd, and Morgan cuts the throw off, so it's 5-4 Philadelphia.
Well, I tell you, Al, you really got to hand it to the Phils. They could have really been down in the dumps. You saw that picture of that same dugout just about 10 minutes ago was really in bad shape. Johnstone hits that ball. They get a break. They get a break on the ball down the left field line, and they battle back. That's a sign of an excellent, outstanding ball club. They've got a lot of guts and a lot of pride. They didn't say die over there.
Now Larry Shepard going to the mound. The Reds pitching coach makes another visit. That's Bobby Tolan, who drew the intentional walk at first base. Eastwick staggered on Saturday night. In the bullpen now, the right-hander is rookie Santo Alcala. McInerney is still throwing. Will, the left-hander. Shepard out for a brief visit with Eastwick. Eastwick on Saturday night was not quite a mystery to anybody. Gave up a couple of runs, but escaped. Reds had a big lead going into the ninth inning and won it 6-3. Phil's leading 5-4. Runners at first and third with 2 down. Gary Maddox, they're going to appeal now at second base. Eastwick has to back off first. Morgan telling him, you've got to back off now, throw. They're going to appeal it. Boa left too soon. No. So they lose the appeal. Tolan off to his lead at first. Runner at third is Boa. 2 down. And the first pitch to Maddox is a swing and a miss. Gary Maddox, 1 for 4. He doubled in the 7th inning to drive in the Phillies' second run. He is 3 for 12 in the playoffs. Popped up. Should end the inning. Cesar Geronimo coming on. And the side is retired. But the Phillies have the lead again. They come up with 2 runs. A couple of hits. And lead 2. Go to the bottom of the 8th. It is 5-4 Philadelphia. Pete Rose to lead off. Fouls it away here in the 8th inning. Now the Phillies make some changes. The new catcher is Johnny Oates. Bob Boone went out for the pinch runner. They send Jerry Martin in to play left field. Take Dick Allen out of the game. There is Martin. And send Bobby Tolan over to first base. Rose loops it down the line in left field. That's a base hit. Martin will try to hold him to 1 and does. So Rose has a single to lead off the 8th. Boy, they're zeroing in on that spot.
It's like a bomb site out there. Everybody seems to be popping the ball right over the third baseman's head. Mike Schmidt, of course, and Pete Rose from Cincinnati down in that little corner. And I don't know if it's sun or what it is down there. People are not having, they are having a little bit of trouble feeling the ball down there.
Ken Griffey is the batter. Tying run, Rose at first and nobody out. 5-4 Phillies. Griffey takes high from Reed. Ball 1. 1-0.
Phillies did battle back. They're 5-4. They're ahead now. They've out hit the Reds 10-5 today. That's Pete Rose's first hit of the day.
Popped up and playable in foul ground for Mike Schmidt. 1 down. In the Philadelphia bullpen, big right-hander Wayne Twitchell is throwing. Joe Morgan coming up. Oates going to visit the mound. Morgan facing Cott 3 times today. There's Twitchell in the bullpen. Morgan 0 for 2 plus a walk. Phillies got a run in the 4th, 2 in the 7th. The Reds came storming back with 4 to take the lead. And then the Phillies came back with 2 to retake the lead in the 8th. Bottom of the 8th inning, Rose at first base. Morgan looks at a strike. Inside part, Morgan says, come on.
I don't think he believes it, does he? Little Joe's still looking for his first hit, even though during the season, regular season, he had 360 against Philly pitching.
Fouled away. He's without a hit in this series, but he's walked 6 times.
6 base on balls for little Joe. That's not in the book. You don't want to walk that little guy either.
5-4 Philadelphia. Rose at first base, 1 away. Ron Reed working in relief of Cott. Fooled him. Morgan swinging very late, and down he goes. Big strikeout. So 2 down now, and Tony Perez, the batter. Perez did not have a hit in either of the first 2 games. Has 2 today, including a base hit to drive in Cincinnati's first run in the 7th inning. Rose at first, 2 down, 5-4 Philadelphia in the 8th. 1-0. Nice stop by Oates. Outfield swung around toward right. They give him the gap, though, in left center. Maddox shading him well over toward right. Tolan holding Rose aboard.
There's a good shot at Tony Perez. Doggy, as he's called, in the Cincinnati locker room.
Change in there, 1-1.
Wow, that was a surprise, huh? A change to Perez.
Surprised he didn't swing. They must have been totally fooled. Of course, Reed was behind him in the count, and that's a good situation, really, for a changeup when you're behind. George Foster on deck.
Swing and a miss at a fastball, and the count is 1-2.
This is Mr. Tough in the late innings, Tony Perez. You get men in scoring position, men on base. He is really tough in the late innings of a ball game.
Reed ready and checking Rose.
He is not really a threat to steal. I think he stole 9 bases this year. Last year, he didn't steal any. He's a very good base runner, very aggressive base runner, but not a great base stealer.
2 balls, 2 strikes the count. Hits the deep left field. Jerry Martin got a very late start, but gets back and has room and makes the catch. Took Martin just a moment to find it. He looked up and was stationary and went back late, but had time as it stays in. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. Go to the 9th, 5-4 Phillies. On to the 9th inning. Seesaw ball game. The Phillies saw a 3-0 lead disappear. Reds took the lead with 4 in the 7th. Phillies came back with 2 in the 8th. They lead as we go to the 9th inning. The Phillies here in the 9th, Mike Schmidt to lead off facing Raleigh Eastwick. When the Reds come up now in the bottom of the 9th inning to look ahead, it will be the 5, 6, and 7 spots. Foster, Bench, and Concepcion, 3 right-handed batters to face Ron Reed as Danny Ozark goes over the lineup card up on the wall in the dugout.
You know, Mike's really had a big day, Al. A couple of doubles and a single, 3 for 4. And the piece you did with him on the pre-game show before we started about the discipline at the plate, waiting for a good pitch to hit. He really got his head together, I think, for this ball game.
Popped up down the line in left field, might stay playable. Concepcion into the bullpen with Foster, and Concepcion makes the catch. On the mound in the pen. Fine play.
That's the first time he swung his first pitch all day. Something he didn't do. Of course, he's had a big day. Graduate of Ohio University, Mike Schmidt. There's Eastwick. Got 1 out here, the top of the 9th.
Ron Reed is the batter. When Reed came into the game, they put him into the 4 spot. So he's the cleanup hitter right now with Jerry Martin waiting on deck.
Not a bad hitter, Al. Good athlete. Former pro basketball player.
Couple of years with the Pistons. 0-1 the count. 1 out, top of the 9th inning. 5-4 Philadelphia. Just missing. 1-1. Smith's had a good day. Mike, 3 hits today. Went after a bad pitch and didn't get it, and the count is 1-2. Ron Reed hit 167 this season. 4 for 24. It's slowly down to Rose. Easy play for Pete. 2 down. So Reed gone. Schmidt looking casual in the Philly dugout.
At this point, I think he's got to be thinking about 3 more outs. He's a happy guy today. There's Jerry Martin.
He's the kind of guy that's probably thinking, I hope I get 3 ground balls in the bottom of the 9th inning. I want to take care of it.
He'd love to have it. I think he looked very determined and really with it this morning on the field during batting practice.
Jerry Martin comes up for the first time in the series, ball 1. Martin, most of the year, was Luzinski's caddy. He'd come in to run for Greg if Greg would get on late in the game and then stay in the game because he's a better outfielder. And that's why he came on defensively after the Phillies had the lead back in the top of the 8th inning. Jerry this season at 248. Get down to Rose, who backs up and backhands it. 1 bounce throw. Perez can't handle it. So Martin gets on. Pete Rose had to back up and backhand the ball. Low throw was there, but Perez couldn't scoop it out.
If the Reds do have one weak link on that baseball field, it's probably Pete Rose's arm. He's got some age on it. He's played a lot of positions, thrown a lot of baseballs. Not too bad of a knock with a ball club like this. Your right arm maybe being the one sore spot.
So Martin is on. Rose is charged with an error. That's the second made by the Reds today. And it brings up Jay Johnstone. Johnstone, 2 for 3, plus a walk. Got the 2-run 8th inning rally started with a ground rule double off Perez's shoulder, which bounced into the seats. 1-0 the count.
The hitter's thoughts now at this point. He knows he's got a runner at first with good speed. He's not going to bunt. He can't get the bunt down. You've got 2 outs. He's got to try and hit the ball hard. Hit a double down the line. Hit a double in the gap. They need an insurance run right now. That'd be beautiful on the board for him going to the bottom of the 9th inning. He can't try and hit a single. He's got to try to go for the extra base hit here. Try and get the insurance run. Jay Johnstone at the plate. 1-1 the count.
Martin at first base. Johnstone whacks it foul into the seats back of third, and the count is 1-2. And Sparky Anderson and Ted Kluszewski in the foreground. Sparky's hair is white from all of the playoff pressure over the years, huh? 2-2. He used to dye it. He looks a lot better now. I like it this way. Sparky was white when he was 4.
Never looks too nervous either, does he? Always got his head in the game. Got a few thoughts in his mind right there, doesn't he?
2-2 on Johnstone. Martin is going, and Johnstone rolls one toward the middle, and by Morgan and toward the gap. That may score a run. Geronimo knocks it down, and it will score Martin. Johnstone is on his way to third, and Geronimo's throw is not in time. So Johnstone hits a sharp grounder by Morgan with Martin going, winds up at third, and the Phillies have a 6-4 lead. Jay Johnstone has his 3rd hit of the day. He is now 7 for 9 in the series. It's scored as a triple, so Johnstone has a single, a double, and a triple.
On this play, I think you'll see Morgan for an instant took his eye off the ball to look at Martin. Johnstone 7 for 9 in the series.
That ball will really move across that AstroTurf. Now, if that were normal grass, I doubt very much if the runner had been able to score because it would have died before it got all the way out there to right center. But that's the aspect of playing on an artificial surface. The ball would travel much farther.
Batter is Johnny Oates, who hits a chopper down to Morgan. Easy play. This will end the inning, but the Phillies have some insurance. They get a run, a hit. Reds make an error, a big one, and a man left on. It's 6-4. Philadelphia going to the bottom of the 9th inning. Back with more from Riverfront Stadium after this word from our local station. Al Michaels with Tom Seaver, Warner Wolf at Riverfront Stadium. 6 runs, 11 hits, and no errors for the Phillies. 4 runs, 5 hits, and 2 errors for the Reds. So Reed will try to hold him in check. The Phillies defensively in the bottom of the 9th, Reed with Oates, the infield of Colin, Cash, Boa, and Schmidt. The outfield left to right of Martin, Maddox, and Johnstone. Now the Reds will send up 3 right-handed batters in the bottom of the 9th inning. It'll be Foster, Bench, and Concepcion. Tonight at 8 o'clock, Game 3, Andy Hassler will be on the mound for Kansas City. Doc Ellis will pitch for the Yankees. That series even at a game apiece. 8 o'clock Eastern time on ABC tonight. If the Phillies hold on here, we are back tomorrow. And you will see Game 4 tomorrow night at 8 o'clock from Riverfront Stadium. Probables, Don Gullett, Steve Carlton. George Foster. In the bottom of the 9th inning, Foster has popped out, flied out, and hit a sacrifice fly. Foster is 1 for 11 in the playoffs. The one a home run on Saturday. He's taking and looks at a strike, 0-1.
That's a very big run the Phils picked up there, Al. Instead of 5-4, 6-4. Cincinnati needs base runners now.
Reed letting up and missing, and the count is 1-1. Crowd today is 55,047.
If Reed gets in trouble, they've got double barrel action down in the bullpen. Tug McGraw.
Can't check in time. Went after a pitch away. Good pitch by Reed, fooling Foster. 1-2.
Buck McGraw and Larry Christensen throwing in the bullpen for the Phillies, if needed.
Hit foul off to the right.
Cincinnati's got a couple people going in their bullpen.
McGraw is leaving the bullpen now, and Tommy Underwood starts to throw, a left-hander. That's Underwood alongside Christensen. And in the bullpen for the Reds, Jack Billingham, the right-hander, along with Will McEnany. Foster hits a drive to deep left field, and she'll be gone. George Foster hits a 1-2 pitch over the wall and left, and it's 6-5.
George Foster has only 2 hits in the whole series. He's 2 for 12, both hits home runs.
So Reed gets ahead on the count and loses him. Does he ever? Now Gene Garber gets up in the bullpen. Garber and Underwood.
Watch George Foster again. Here's your leading RBI man in the National League, 100. There it goes. Beautiful.
Great extension of his arms, just raw power. He hit that ball in the seats in the middle deck out there.
Johnny Bench takes outside, ball 1. Bench, 4 years ago, almost to the day, came up with nobody out, bottom of the 9th inning, and homered to tie Game 5 against Pittsburgh. Foul ground. Schmidt goes over and has no play. Back in about 5 rows.
You ever notice in a baseball game, when a player hits a home run, the next batter, if he hits the ball in the air anywhere in the outfield, the natural reaction is for the fans to let loose with a loud cheer. It's like a double instinct following the home run.
Especially on their home field. Sure.
They're braced for an explosion here. 6-5 in the 9th inning. Bench a full rip. Foul tipping it, and the count is 1-2. On deck is Concepcion. So a big run. The run scored in the top of the 9th inning after Rose made the error on Martin's ball. Johnstone a triple, and that's the difference in the game. Anderson looks on, and the 1-2 pitch to Johnny Bench is chopped foul. 1-2. That man is still in very good shape, of course, even if the Phillies hold on.
He'd like to find one more run right now, wouldn't he?
You betcha. Yeah, he doesn't want to prolong it. I mean, Sparky likes the theater, but
enough's enough.
Keep the drama there. It's a deep center field. Barry Maddox goes all the way back at the wall. Gone! It's a home run to tie the game. It is 6-6.
Look at that bench. Look at that.
Get ready right now. Once again, the home run by Bench with 2 strikes.
Looks like the same kind of pitch that Foster hit out right down the middle. Just a good turn, good full extension of his arms. That ball was way out of here.
Now Ozark goes to the mound. All he was waiting for was for Garber to get ready in the bullpen. So Reed gives up back-to-back homers in the 9th. Foster and Bench. Concepcion will be coming up. And Ozark waiting for the signal that Garber is ready, and now gets it. And Garber will be coming in. So Reed leaves. Gave up 4 runs in 2+ innings.
Our Philadelphia.
Garber makes his way in from the bullpen. Back with more from Riverfront in just a minute. Gene Garber comes in to pitch. Garber 9-3 with a 2.81 ERA during the regular season. And the Philly fans have to be thinking he's coming in one batter too late, maybe.
It's got to be on their mind, Al. You're talking about two men that seem to have a sense for the dramatic. George Foster, boom, a home run, followed by Johnny Bench. There's two fine baseball teams. You see a shot of the packed house here at Riverfront Stadium. The Phillies have scored 5 runs in the last 3 innings. The Reds have scored 6 runs in the last 3 innings. And they've still got 3 outs to go here in the bottom of the 9th. 2 runs with nobody out in the bottom of the 9th to tie the game at 6-6. Garber has his work cut out for him, no question. Concepcion would be his first opponent.
And then Geronimo. And then they're down to the pitcher's spot.
Listen to that crowd. That's amazing. This momentum has just gone back and forth from one dugout to the other.
Dave Concepcion is the batter. Concepcion is 0 for 3. In the series, he has 1 hit and 9 trips. Gene Garber working from the extreme first base side of the rubber. Base hit. The pennant winning run is at first. The Reds are just incredible. You get them down, you can't get them out, though. They get up off the deck time after time after time. 2 years in a row. Numerous come-from-behind victories. They were down 10-1 one day in Chicago this season. Won the game.
2 home runs here to tie the ball game. A game that I pitched against the Reds in 1973. We opened the series here. I had them down 1-0 going in the 7th inning. Home run by Pete Rose. Had him 1-1. The score was tied going in the 9th inning. The man who has already hit a home run here in the bottom of this 9th inning, Johnny Bench, pulled a fastball of mine down the left field line. The Reds won that opening game 2-1. Here comes Danny Ozark again.
He's going to bring in Tommy Underwood. Underwood will make his first appearance in this series with Geronimo coming up in a bunt situation. The pennant at first base for the Reds, Dave Concepcion. And Underwood, who has not appeared in the playoffs, comes on here in the 9th inning. This game will run past 6 o'clock Eastern time, so we will be joining the local news on our various stations at the conclusion of this one. Dramatic game in Cincinnati. We'll be joining the news, except on the West Coast. Seesaw game as the Phillies took a 1-0 lead in the 4th, picked up 2 in the 7th to make it 3-0. The Reds came back with 4 in the bottom of the 7th to take the lead. The Phillies got 2 in the 8th, 1 more in the 9th to lead 6-4. And here in the bottom of the 9th inning, back-to-back homers by Foster and Bench. And now a single by Dave Concepcion. So Tom Underwood comes in to pitch with Cesar Geronimo to remain in, a left-handed batter, no doubt to bunt. Underwood 10-5. Oh,
I just can't believe it. They are putting on some show in this ballpark. It is really something. You wonder why a town that doesn't have 1 million people, Cincinnati, can draw 2.5 million people in here for a season.
Doesn't have 500,000 people.
They have really put on a great show.
55,047, the crowd at Riverfront Stadium today. A 6-6 tie in the bottom of the 9th inning. Tommy Underwood loosening up. Underwood, a starter most of the season. He's appeared in relief 8 times, started 25.
Just one comment about Underwood. So far, he has been strictly a hometown pitcher. In Philadelphia, the last 2 years, he's won 20 and lost only 4. However, on the road, Underwood has won only 4 and lost 14 the last 2 years.
Well, if he's going to win this one, they're going to have to go to extra innings because that man down there at first base, Dave Concepcion, doesn't belong to him.
Cesar Geronimo up in a bunt situation. On deck is Bob Bailey to bat for Raleigh Eastwick. Underwood backs off.
Underwood does not have a good move to first base. Does not have an outstanding move to first base, but he has a quick delivery to home plate.
Geronimo squares, takes low for ball 1. 1-0 the count. Wayne Twitchell up in the Philadelphia bullpen. Billingham and McInerney in the Cincinnati pen. Geronimo tries to bunt, pitches high. 2-0 the count. Lets it go by low, ball 3. 3-0. So Underwood has really dug himself a hole now.
Boy, when it rains, it pours. Doesn't it? 2 home runs, a base hit. Now he goes 3-0 on the Geronimo at the plate trying to sacrifice. And he's not even close. That last pitch way down low. Geronimo's got to be taking here.
He does. Ball 4. Winning run at second. Now Ed Armbrister will come up. They had Bailey on deck. Had Geronimo been able to sacrifice, they would have sent up Bailey, but now in another bunting situation, they'll send up Armbrister. Ozark will go to the mound. He's got Twitchell, a right-hander, in the bullpen, and he'll gather the infield in. But Broa was up throwing before. Not that he's going to bring in a left-handed pitcher now. There's Twitchell in the bullpen, the right-hander. Tug was throwing and then sort of shook his head, came back to the dugout like something was wrong.
Could be his shoulder. Maybe something mechanically is wrong.
That's why I'm beginning to think right now that if Ozark wants a left-hander, he's got to stay with Underwood, because he'd rather have a left-hander in to face Rose. He'd rather have Pete hit from the right side and also Griffey if they get that far. So if he goes to Twitchell, he might put himself in a box.
The situation now, no outs. Armbrister's got to be up there bunting to try and get the runners at second and third. And Rose will come up. They're going to walk Rose intentionally, and then you've got to pitch to Griffey and Morgan, who are both left-hand hitters.
Exactly.
But this is a bunt situation.
Ed Armbrister waiting at the plate. Nobody out. Winning run at second. Ball 1. 1-0.
National League pennant for the Cincinnati Reds is down at second base. Dave Concepcion. All they got to do is get him down to third and around to home. They win the pennant. There he is right there. Good speed, good base runner.
Here's the 1-0 to Armbrister. Bunted in the air and foul. And the count is 1-1.
Jay Johnstone, believe it or not, running all the way from right field. Came in behind Cesar Geronimo at first base. Had they pitched out, had Oates pitched out in that situation, they'd have picked Geronimo off by 15 feet. There goes Johnstone back to right field. He had him picked off. The play wasn't known. Obviously, Jay was doing it just on his own.
1 ball and 1 strike. Bunted toward third. Good bunt. Smith will have to make the play at first, and the pennant's at third. 1 out. So Armbrister does his job. Play goes 5-4. Cash covers. Now Rose comes up. Pete is 1 for 4. Doubtful they'll pitch to him.
He doesn't even need to have a bat up at the plate right now. They've got to set up a double play situation. I don't know how you're going to double up Ken Griffey. There's Sparky talking to Griffey right there.
About the only way you double Griffey is to get a comeback or a sharp one hopper to the mound. That's about it.
They're going to have to make the play at home plate. They certainly can't play back.
Now, of course, a man at third. So many different things can win a game. You think back to the Reds winning the pennant on a wild pitch in 1972. Oh. Almost a wild pitch there. Boy, Underwood is really rattled, and Tolan goes to the mound.
You'd wonder in this situation, why not bring that right fielder back around behind home plate? You can only have one man in foul territory.
Exactly. Underwood looked like he was throwing a fastball up and away.
Underwood doesn't look too upset, but obviously he's feeling the pressure, no question. Look on his face, he looks all right.
Ball 3 to Rose.
You don't think Pete would love to be able to be swinging right now, do you, with a National League pennant on the line?
The bases are loaded. 1 out. 9th inning, a 6-6 tie. The Reds trying to wrap up the pennant. Ken Griffey, 1 for 4 today. 3 for 12 in the series. Infield has to play in. Outfield very shallow. You don't even have to be medium depth. If it's a fly ball to medium depth, forget it. It's all over. Sacrifice fly. Underwood's got to keep it down. He's got to pray for a ball hit right back to the mound. A ball and a throw to third, and Concepcion gets back in. Mike Schmidt over to cover. What a go.
Close play at third base. I tell you, Al, I'm shaking. There's Concepcion coming off at third base. Oates make a pretty good throw down there. Not in time. I'm shaking. This is really exciting.
1-0 the count. Little nubber. Tolan has to come home, and the Reds win the pennant. The Cincinnati Reds have won the pennant. Ken Griffey, a little chopper, and even had Tolan fielded it cleanly, it would have been very, very close and doubtful. So they've done it again. They're on their way to the World Series, which will start here on Saturday. 3 runs in the 9th, and it's a clean sweep again. They swept the Pirates last season. They sweep the Phillies this year, and they take it in straight sets. They win 6-2, 6-3, and 7-6.
I tell you what, just an absolutely incredible performance in the last 3 innings by really maybe one of the outstanding teams in the last 30 years in the National League, or all of baseball. They are really an incredible baseball team.
The Cincinnati Reds filing into the clubhouse. Those of you in the East and Central time zones, stay tuned for the news. The look of dejection. And you talk about the agony of defeat. It's etched on the face of one Ollie Brown in the Philadelphia Philly dugout as they come to Cincinnati and lose Game 3, and the Reds have done it. Once again, the final score, Cincinnati 7, Philadelphia 6. The Reds win the pennant. Al Michaels for Tom Seaver, Warner Wolf. Remember, 8 o'clock tonight, Game 3 of the American League Championship Series. Kansas City to take on the New York Yankees. Travel arrangements made through and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. Fly the friendly skies of United, where you're the boss. The preceding a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television.